Get out now. That's what she screamed at me, right in front of the whole neighborhood, her voice bouncing off the porch like she was queen of the block. But here's the punchline. My house isn't even. In her HOA. Never paid her a cent. Never signed her paperwork. You'd think that'd be the end of it. But turns out, with people like her, logic's just a speed bump on the way to crazy. And honestly, I thought I was dealing with your run-of-the-mill power trip neighbor. Couldn't have been more wrong. What she was running. It was a whole lot darker than anyone imagined. So back it up a sec, my wife Beth and I, we bought this house just outside the Maplewood subdivision lines, and I swear to you, that was the selling point. I'm an HVAC guy, Beth's a nurse, we dealt with enough HOA drama. At our last place to know better. No rules. No monthly fees. No little notices about your mailbox color or your grass being half an inch too tall. Freedom, you know? Or so we thought. It all started the day we moved in, sweaty and exhausted, when this woman appeared at our door like she'd been waiting for the moving truck. She's got this suburban executive vibe, hair perfect, Lululemon gear, that kind of smile you see on realtors' billboards. Plate of cookies in hand. Welcome to Maplewood. I'm Karen, HOA president. We take care of all residents here. She made all sound like a threat, not a promise. Still, I'm tired. I take the cookies, try to be neighborly. Tell her, actually, we're outside the HOA. That's why we bought here. That smile froze. Just for a blink, and I swear if looks could kill, I'd have been a chalk outline right there on my own front porch. From that moment, she zeroed in. 20 questions about the deed, our income, jobs. If we had kids, if we planned on integrating into the community. It was like a job interview crossed with a police interrogation, all wrapped in sugar. She starts rambling about community, standards, and harmony. But what she really meant was, she ran this place like her personal fiefdom, and my little plot of land was a crack in her kingdom. And trust me, Karen's the kind of person who'd superglue the crack and repaint the whole wall before she'd ever admit she's not in charge. Things got weird fast. Next day, I find a revised property survey in my mailbox, official looking, stamped and signed, claiming my house was technically inside the HOA after all. Only thing is, it didn't match anything from my realtor. I start wondering how deep this rabbit hole goes. Meanwhile, Karen's friendly check-ins turn into pop-ins at all hours, her doing laps around my house, testing door handles for safety, peeking through windows, commenting on potential code issues. One night I hear her outside with a flashlight, muttering into her phone. The feeling of being watched never really left after that. You ever feel a house isn't just four walls, but you're lying in the sand? That's what it became for us. But then Tom shows up. Neighbor, late 50s, hand like a vice grip, says he's a retired property assessor. Immediately starts selling me on the benefits of joining the HOA. Pulls out data sheets, talks numbers, offers to connect me with his trusted mortgage guy who can get us better rates if we sign up. Whole time, he keeps repeating, Karen's right. You're better off with us. That's when I realized this isn't just nosy neighbors. It's a sales operation, and we're the product. But the hits kept coming. Citations appear in my mailbox for made-up violations, lawn too long, mailbox wrong color, fence in the wrong spot, all on what looks like city letterhead. Only, the city clerk tells me none of these violations are in their system. Someone with real access is faking them. Karen starts making threats. Other families had problems, until they learned to cooperate. It'd be a shame if your permits got delayed, or the police got called about disturbances, Marcus. Always delivered with a smile, always just concerned. It got to the point where every time I left for work or Beth came home from the hospital, Karen would magically appear with a new complaint or warning, like she had our schedules memorized. And Tom, he wasn't just friendly, he was running his own surveillance. My cameras caught him, snooping through our mailbox, snapping photos of our mail, and even lurking by our windows late at night. So I started testing him. Dropped a fake letter with a bogus account number. Marked it in invisible ink. Sure enough, 2 days later, a mortgage specialist calls me about that exact number. Beth starts acting off. Forgetful. Moody. She's doubting my version of things. Asking if maybe I'm overreacting, suggesting I talk to someone. Then I catch Karen, on our kitchen camera, dropping something into Beth's coffee. Have you ever had that moment where your blood runs cold and you just know? Lab confirms, sedatives. That's why Beth's been slipping. And every professional Karen recommends, a therapist, a doctor, a marriage counselor, turns out to be someone in her network, all reinforcing the story that I'm the problem, not her. Here's the twist, though, Beth's not the only one. Turns out Karen has a history. She targets families dealing with grief or inheritance, singles out the ones with property just outside the HOA, then leans on them, wears them down, gets them to sell. My private investigator finds a half-dozen families, all with the same story. Citations, harassment, mysterious errors, with city paperwork, and suddenly a for sale at half market value, snapped up by investment companies connected to Karen's board. It's organized, methodical. Hell, it's criminal. When we finally hire an attorney, Lena Carter, supposedly a specialist in HOA disputes, she seems like a lifeline. Takes all our documents. Promises the world. Until I see her, through an office window, sitting with Karen at a premium properties conference table, sliding my files across the table. Our own lawyer was a plant. She'd been pumping us for info, feeding it to Karen's side. I've never felt betrayal like that in my life. Beth and I regroup, set rules, document everything, share every detail. And it pays off. One night, after a particularly direct thread about accidents at the hospital, I get a call from another victim. His family went through hell, lost everything, but he's been collecting. Receipts, recordings, bank trails, emails, everything. Turns out, Karen's network runs deeper than we thought. City clerks, building inspectors, realtors, even a few concerned citizens getting kickbacks for their loyalty. Some neighbors took deals, reduced fees, protection, in exchange for going along with the harassment. So we flipped the script. Pull together every victim. Pool our evidence, line up TV crews, contact state officials, people outside the local web. Karen thinks she's coming to a mediation, but she walks into a room full of cameras, attorneys, and every person she ever bullied, receipts in hand. Tom, her right-hand man, flips, testifies, hands over 3 years' worth of files. The look on Karen's face when she realized she couldn't spin her way out of it, that's a memory I'll never lose. But even cornered, Karen doesn't go quietly. Her legal team tries to paint her as the dedicated community leader victimized by a conspiracy. Local news gets spammed with think pieces about the dangers of disgruntled homeowners. Neighbors waver, unsure who to believe. Even the police get cold feet until someone tries to sabotage Beth's brakes, leaves a note on our windshield. Some accidents are more believable than others. That's when state police step in and the story explodes. At the final showdown, Karen loses it, publicly, spectacularly, screaming about her perfect community, her perfect rules, blaming us for ruining everything. She's taken out in cuffs, ranting about insurance policies and retribution. But nobody's listening anymore. The neighborhood's stunned, but the truth's out. People see how they got played, how civility and standards became weapons for one woman's greed. Property values go up once the madness ends. The air feels lighter. Real community grows, based on people actually choosing to help each other, not fear, not control. Karen's meltdown goes viral. A cautionary tale for every board president who thinks they own their neighbors. Sometimes, the only way to beat a bully is to rip the mask off in front of everyone she ever tried to impress. So, where do you draw the line? How far would you go to protect your family? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if you ever find yourself facing your own HOA nightmare, remember, you're not alone. Like, share, subscribe. Let's keep the spotlight on these stories until every last Karen learns you can't run a neighborhood like your personal kingdom forever.